We all have this image in our heads of what a school counselor does, right? They're the friendly face you go to, they listen, maybe offer a bit of advice. But what if I told you their role is so much more complex, so much more vital than most of us ever see? Today, we're going to pull back that curtain and really get into what it takes to be a modern school counselor. So let's just start with the big question right out of the gate. What does it really take to be good at this job? I can tell you it is way more than just being a good listener. It's this incredible mix of art and science, of heart and mind, and it's all built on a very specific foundation. And that foundation? Well, you can think of it as resting on three main pillars. If you get these, you start to see the true professionalism behind the role. So here they are: knowledge, skills, and attitude. Now, the really crucial thing to get here is that these aren't just separate boxes you can check off a list. No way. Real competence, the good stuff, comes from how these three things are woven together. It's like a three-legged stool. If one of those legs is shaky, the whole thing is going to fall over. Let's dig into that first pillar for a second: knowledge. This is where the science part of the job really shines. It's not just about learning a bunch of counseling techniques. It's about understanding the why behind them. Why does this approach work with this particular student in this exact situation? That deep theoretical knowledge is what turns a simple chat into a genuine professional intervention. And while the skills pillar is all about putting that knowledge into practice, let's jump to the third one, attitude, because this is so important. And we're not just talking about being cheerful. A counselor's professional attitude shapes everything, not just their connection with the student, but also their relationship with the school itself and even the broader cultural context they're working in. It's this constant awareness of the professional, ethical, and social world around them. Okay, so let's see how this all works in the real world. A school isn't some quiet clinic, right? It's a living, breathing ecosystem with its own unique pressures. And working with young people in that environment, it takes a very special set of personal qualities. So what are we talking about here? Well, you need a ton of self-awareness. You need cultural sensitivity to connect with kids from all walks of life. Of course, you need to be a fantastic listener and super approachable to build that safe, trusting space. But here's a big one. You also need a realistic sense of what's actually possible. It's about understanding both your impact and your limits within that school system. Now, we've got to make a really important distinction. On one hand, you have the designated school counselor. This is their main full-time job. But in a lot of schools, you also have what you could call embedded counselors. Think of a teacher or a school nurse who kids know they can go to. Counseling is a part of their role, but it's not their primary function, and that difference is going to be really important in a minute. So if you're a designated counselor, what do you actually do all day? I promise you, it's a whole lot more than just the quiet, one-on-one sessions we all picture. First, there's all the direct support. Yeah, individual and group sessions for students, but often for parents and even other staff members too. They also act as consultants for teachers trying to help a student in distress. And they're building bigger things, like peer support programs, to make the whole school culture healthier. And then there's all the critical work that happens behind the scenes. These counselors are like architects, helping to build strong confidentiality policies. They're talking with everyone, from the head teacher to the school governors. They're keeping secure records and presenting anonymous data to school leaders to show what's working and what trends they're seeing, all while fiercely protecting every student's privacy. But having all this knowledge, all this skill, and all this responsibility, it creates some massive ethical pressure. So let's dive into a real-world scenario where the rules of the system crash right into the needs of a student. Okay, meet Miranda. She's a youth worker, kind of one of those embedded counseling figures we talked about. And her school has this one very clear, very strict rule. If you are under 16, you absolutely need your parents' permission to see the official school counselor. No exceptions. So one day, a 15-year-old student named Kaya comes up to Miranda. Kaya explains that she really needs to talk to someone, that she's even thought about going to the specialist counselor, but there's a big problem. And that's when Kaya says it. My parents won't give permission, so I chose to speak to you instead. Wow. In that one sentence, Kaya has found a loophole in the system, but she's also just put Miranda in an unbelievably tough spot. The very rule that was meant to protect students has just become a barrier. So, what does Miranda do? How on earth can she support this student who is clearly asking for help, but also respect her school's explicit rules and her own professional code of ethics? I mean, it feels like there's no right answer, does it?
Well, this is exactly why counselors don't just have a rule book. They have a moral compass, a set of core ethical principles that are designed to help them navigate these exact kinds of murky situations.
Ethical decisions in counseling are built on 5 foundational ideas. And these aren't just abstract concepts. They are a practical toolkit for making tough calls. They are autonomy, non-maleficence, beneficence, justice, and fidelity.
So how would Miranda use this? She has to weigh all of these principles against each other. Autonomy respects Kaya's right to make her own choices and seek help. Beneficence is the duty to do good. It's pushing Miranda to help Kaya. Justice makes her question if the school's rule is even fair to students in Kaya's position. And fidelity is about being trustworthy to Kaya, who has just placed her confidence in Miranda. But all of this has to be balanced against the biggest one of all, non-maleficence, the absolute #1 rule, above all, do no harm. Every single choice Miranda makes has to be measured against that one critical question.
So the next time you think about a school counselor, remember this. Their work is a constant, delicate balancing act. It's like walking a tightrope between offering immediate, compassionate support to a student right in front of them and upholding this incredibly profound and complex ethical duty to everyone involved. It's so much more than just a job. It's a vocation that demands competence, care, and huge amount of responsibility.